Good morning, it's 7 a.m. in Lincoln, New Hampshire. And we're gonna go, me and Masayo, we're gonna go all the way over to Rutland in central Vermont. But first, we're gonna go along Highway 112 here in New Hampshire. And it's basically one of the most famous roads for seeing fall leaves. We're here a little bit early and it's a Sunday, so there will be some people on this drive, I'm sure. 2 weeks from now, this will be bumper to bumper up here on Highway 112. But this morning, it's all ours. The 32-mile section of New Hampshire Highway 112 between Lincoln and Conway is called the Kancamagus Highway. It's a national scenic byway and legendary for autumn leaf tourism. Okay, we're about to enter officially the White Mountain National Forest. Everything ahead will be just National Forest and leaves. Few cars here. Let's go. The sun hadn't quite come up yet, and fog and mist were still enveloping the trees, which kept getting more and more colorful as the road took us to higher and higher elevations. It felt like the road was building to some crescendo this morning. Stopped at an overlook called Hancock Overlook or something, and we're looking out over the trees, over the mist, on the hills below. Already superb. The colors, like all kinds of shades of red and yellow and orange. And it's misty and it's like 7:30 in the morning. It's perfect. We realized immediately that you can't really pass by any scenic overlook here without stopping. Each view offers something unique and riveting, and not only that, but here in the morning, each view changes every few minutes. Just 2 seconds ago, we passed apparently the high point of this road, which is called the Kancamagus Highway, and we came to this overlook. I don't really know how the camera is picking this up. I'm going to try. I'm going to stand over here and look down on this layer of clouds here. One of the greatest things I've ever seen. Another piece of evidence to say that this is the time to come. A little bit before the crowds, early in the morning, and I give you Sugar Hill Scenic Vista. So we're down out at the top of the mountains into that level where we saw the clouds from above. Now we're seeing them from the side. Look at that. You see the different ridges. It's almost Thanksgiving, guys. At lower elevations on the other side of the mountains, we saw a sign and instinctively pulled over for a brief hike and a closer look at the natural features of this area. All right, it's about 9:30 and still very chilly outside, and we are on a thing called some kind of loop walk on the river, what's it called? Rocky Gorge pullout. And we're by the river, and it's just awesome. These are all dry rocks now, but I bet this is insanity in springtime when the snows melt. Huge, huge rushing torrents of water. Right now it's rather pleasant and still dramatic. That sign says that when people used to go from Boston to Conway, which is where we're driving to, it took like 3 days by stagecoach. It was kind of a grueling ride to get here. And then in 1864, the Boston and Maine Railway opened and brought people here in 4 easy hours. So a lot of people started coming here. So ever since 1864, the Rocky Gorge has been like a real popular place for tourists and visitors. Short hike away from the car is this, Falls Pond. What a difference 25 minutes makes. When we got here, not many people. And we came back and there's quite a few more people here. It's like 9:30. I think we saw a lot of good stuff already today. Good job waking up at 6 a.m. Good job waking up at 6 a.m. today. You need a little bit more coffee, but there's no services at all on Highway 112 between Lincoln and Conway. So we hope when we get to Conway we can find a little more coffee. Okay, it's 9:41 a.m. We have finished the Kancamagus Highway. We're in Conway, and finally, at this point, we're turning back towards Rutland, Vermont. It's going to be kind of a long drive today because I've drawn out a very obscure and eccentric route that winds all around, trying to avoid the bigger highways. And we're on Highway 16 and 113. Do I stay on 113? I'm already getting lost, but anyway, we're on Highway 16 South, and we're looking for maybe a covered bridge, if I can find the correct turnoff. Didn't see any coffee in Conway, but we have hope. Passing through Tamworth, home of TV host John Davidson and summer residence of President Grover Cleveland, we didn't find any coffee here either. But that didn't really matter when the town was this charming, and I had hope that one of these little towns would have what we needed. Outside Tamworth, as we rounded a curve on obscure Highway 113A, one of this trip's biggest goals was finally met. In dramatic fashion.
Oh, oh, oh!
He's behind several trees. He snorted at me. I'm sorry. Sorry to have frightened you, but you frightened us too. Woo! Slammed on the brakes in the middle of the road and had to back up and he like bounded up this steep like gravel road, so I did. All right, we gotta get out of here. Well, I found Highway 113 and I pulled off of Highway 113 onto 113A, which just loops around, and it was a totally unnecessary, out-of-the-way road. I just wanted to see this little tiny country road. And we were driving down it, and suddenly around a little bend at the bottom of a hill, big huge moose standing right next to the road. It was very, very exciting, and it really woke us up. And now I'm standing in the town of North Sandwich, just because it's called North Sandwich. And I wanted to show you this wall. And this is thanks to Dan Warren on Patreon, who sent me a link to an article about these stone walls in New England. A unique and lovely and much beloved aspect of New England. I think I've been passing them here on this road trip, but haven't really noticed them until Dan sent me that link. So thank you, Dan. So no coffee in North Sandwich, but we were closing in on it. And just ahead at an intersection, the travel gods smiled upon us once more. All right, we've ended up in the town of Sandwich, and we were just making a turn. At this intersection, there's a place called the Foothills, this cool little coffee shop, sort of not much else around right now, but it's open. And we got coffees, finally, for the day. We also got the turkey chili burrito, which we're gonna split as sort of a secondary little breakfast here. And it's a really cool place. In this part of New Hampshire, even the stop signs are picturesque. Even the back of stop signs are picturesque. As we wound our way closer to Vermont, the scenery got flatter and a bit more populated. The new goal was a bathroom. As a fan of 60s music, I have to point out that we're at the Pleasant Valley store, and it is Sunday today. If you know what that means, you know what that means. The lady at Five Sisters recommended a covered bridge nearby to cross into Vermont. I felt we'd seen plenty of them, but we went to check it out, and this one was definitely worth the detour. But this behind me is the Connecticut River, so this divides New Hampshire and Vermont. Over there on the other bank, that's Vermont. How do you get across? On this bridge. This is the Cornish Windsor Bridge. It's the longest wooden bridge in America, and it's the longest two-span covered bridge on Earth. All right, here we go. Walk your horses or pay $2 fine. The only covered bridge I've ever driven on where it's good to have your headlights on. Cool. Just like that, we're in Vermont on a route that we hadn't really planned on. So I have to find an alternate way to get to Rutland. No problem. Woodstock, Vermont was one of the bigger towns we saw. We were only passing through, but it looked like a great place to explore. I put it on the list of places to go back and check out on a later trip. Okay, we are here. We made it to Rutland, Vermont. We're going to get situated here in this superb bed and breakfast here on the edge of Rutland, out in the country. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. There's a longer extended version of this video, ad-free, on Patreon, including more from the mountains in the morning, a side trip to the Squam River covered bridge. This is footage of a criminal, a detour to a sheep farm/yarn shop, and our super lucky lakeside picnic. Patreon members get instant access to all past and future extended ad-free videos. I don't know, where do you pay for it? Exclusive videos not on YouTube at all, early access to new videos, and other perks. Patreon support helps keep this channel alive so I can bring you videos from fascinating and lesser-known destinations like this. Special thanks this week to Calvin Ferreira, Darcy Otranto, David Richley, Lever Wong, Matt Kane, Michael Fedor, Ray Nichols, Samantha, and Will Phillips. Also thanks to subscribers to my free newsletter, available each week to both paid and free followers on Patreon. Links are in the video description. Thanks for wandering around with me. Everywhere is worth exploring.